So we're finishing the chapter on the roots of happiness and suffering. And there's a contemplation that Rinpoche lines out for us here about how to contemplate suffering. So begin the meditation by considering that no one throughout the realms of samsara is beyond the reach of suffering. And in fact, all happiness that we know is fleeting. Then reflect on your own life. Examine whether the cause of your suffering lies outside or in the confusion of your mind. Ask yourself, even if you aren't miserable at this moment, what kind of seeds are you sowing? Seeds for future happiness or future suffering? In fact, have you already planted seeds that haven't borne fruit yet? What kind of seeds? What kind of fruit will they bear? Contemplate these things again and again from many different angles, thinking about the different experiences in your life. Then, and now I'm speaking, this is very critical, let the mind rest. In fact, before we go any further, I would just like to make an observation here. When Rinpoche taught us contemplative meditation, he always emphasized the phase of resting the mind. In fact, he said it's important to rest the mind as much as you contemplate. And at the time, I didn't really understand why, but now after quite a long time doing the practices myself and helping other people with the practices and with their questions and doubts, I've come to see that contemplating suffering, impermanence, death, the law of karma, in fact, can make us feel sad, can make us feel depressed, can make us feel melancholical. Why? Because we're facing things that we, up until now, we've preferred to ignore. Why have we preferred to ignore them? Because they make us uncomfortable. For example, we contemplate, my mother's going to die, my father's going to die. At some point, I'll be separated from my husband that I love so much. At some point, my children will go away who I love so much. At some point, I might not have all this money in the bank that I have now, or I might have to leave my house and downsize, and everything that I know, I can't hold on to any of it. And what happens is all of the things that we've invested our happiness in reveal themselves as not being a reliable source of happiness. So everything that we've imputed our happiness into has revealed itself as incapable of giving us that happiness. Then we feel sad and depressed. That we created ourselves. We created this false meaning ourselves. And so then comes sadness and depression. So I've seen some people that just contemplate, and they work themselves into a state of depression. So the idea of contemplation is you're cleaning a wound. If you just keep stirring the pus and the bacteria around, the wound is only going to fester. The point is, you open the wound, you see it, and you clean it. The cleaning is the resting the mind. The opening the wound and seeing it is the contemplation. But if we don't rest the mind and let it dissolve and dissipate, then we get stuck in it. So what I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to tell you the importance when you're contemplating, doing contemplative meditation, of resting the mind. Rinpoche said it's like two wings of a bird. If you don't practice both of them equally, the bird can't fly. Then, after a period of resting the mind and letting everything dissipate, everything that you've stirred up, everything that you've thought about, just letting it all go, just letting it all resolve back into itself naturally, then the next step of the contemplative meditation is to give rise to compassion for the countless beings who are caught in the web of suffering. They don't understand what causes the suffering. They don't understand how to get out of the suffering. They don't even understand that they've created the causes of their suffering. So we feel great compassion for these beings. And again, let the mind rest. Then recommit yourself to your spiritual path and helping these beings in whatever way you may. And again, relax the mind. Then pray that the causes and conditions of suffering for all beings be completely eliminated. And once again, rest the mind.